Captain Tahoe Park's fingers trembled slightly as he held the delicate alien device over his bathroom sink. The blue Veldari neural interface glowed in the dim light, casting eerie shadows across the white tiles. He had spent 3 months' pension on this black market tech, and another 2 weeks figuring out how to connect it to the standard military neural implant at the base of his skull. Just a little more, he muttered to himself, carefully aligning the connection ports. Retirement on Proxima Colony was supposed to be peaceful after 20 years in the Human Defense Force, but peace wasn't what Tahoe wanted. He missed the thrill of discovery, the rush of pushing boundaries. This little experiment was his way back into the game. The neural implant at his skull base had been standard issue for all HDF officers, designed to connect to ship systems, weapons platforms, and tactical displays. No one had ever tried connecting one to alien tech before. At least, not officially. Tahoe winced as he felt the first connection lock into place. A strange tingling sensation spread from the base of his skull down his spine. The bathroom mirror showed his reflection with the glowing blue device now attached to his head, thin filaments extending like luminous veins across his skin. "Recording test 1, he said to his personal data pad propped against the sink. Veldari interface initial connection established. No signs of rejection yet. Neural activity steady. The Veldari were notorious for their advanced neural technology. Their species communicated primarily through telepathy, and their tech reflected this evolutionary advantage. Humans couldn't naturally read minds, but Tahoe had a theory. With the right interface, perhaps they could level the playing field. A sudden wave of sensation flooded his mind. Alien concepts, mathematical patterns, and sensory impressions he had no framework to understand. The room seemed to tilt as his brain struggled to process the incoming data. "Whoa," he gasped, gripping the sink edge. "That's intense." The data pad recorded his elevated heart rate, pupil dilation, and the surge of activity in his frontal lobe. Tahoe focused on breathing slowly while his mind adapted to the strange new inputs. This was the risky part. Neural rejections could cause seizures, brain damage, or worse. But after a few moments, the chaos began to organize itself. The alien patterns started making this strange kind of sense. He could feel the device adjusting to his human neural architecture, finding pathways to translate its signals. "It's working," he whispered in amazement. "It's actually working." The bathroom door suddenly slid open with a soft hiss. "Housekeeping. I need to." The voice abruptly stopped. Tahoe spun around, the motion sending a cascade of blue light flashing across the walls as the neural filaments swayed with his movement. Standing in the doorway was his new housekeeper, Nari, a Proximan female with 4 large, expressive eyes and skin that changed color with her emotions. Her normally pale blue skin flushed to a bright, alarmed orange as she took in the scene before her. A human with an alien device seemingly embedded in his skull, blue filaments spreading across his skin, and diagnostic equipment scattered across the bathroom counter. "Human Park," she gasped, all 4 eyes widening in shock. "What are you doing to yourself?" Tahoe realized what this must look like to her. Proximans were a cautious, rule-following species. Self-modification was strictly regulated in their culture, and neural tampering was considered both dangerous and deeply taboo. "This isn't what it looks like," Tahoe said quickly, raising his hands. "I'm not hurting myself. This is research." The Veldari interface pulsed brighter, responding to his sudden anxiety. The sensation of alien thought patterns intensified, making it hard to focus. Was it reacting to Nari's presence? Nari backed toward the door, her color shifting to an even deeper orange tinged with red patterns, extreme distress in Proximan body language. "Unauthorized neural modification is strictly prohibited on Proxima Colony," she said, her voice formal and tight. Section 47.3 of the Colonial Health Code specifically forbids unsupervised integration of alien technology with biological systems. Of course she would know the exact regulation, Tahoe thought. That's why he'd been doing this in secret. Look, I can explain everything. He tried again, taking a step toward her. I'm a former neural systems specialist from the HDF. I know what I'm doing. The movement caused another flash of blue light from the interface. Nari's colors pulsed with alarm, and she reached for the emergency communication device clipped to her uniform. I must report this self-harm incident immediately, she said, for your own safety. Wait! Tahoe lunged forward, but the sudden movement overloaded his adapting neural pathways. A wave of dizziness hit him, and he stumbled against the doorframe. By the time he regained his balance, Neri was already halfway down the corridor, her skin flashing urgent warning patterns. Damn it, Tahoe muttered, steadying himself against the wall. The interface was still connected, sending foreign data streaming through his brain. He couldn't remove it now. Disconnecting improperly could cause serious neural damage. But if colony security arrived while he was still hooked up to illegal alien tech, he'd face more than just a fine. The Velderi interface pulsed again, and suddenly Tahoe felt something new. That distant presence, like eyes watching through the device itself. Something was connecting to him from the other end. A chill ran down his spine as he realized the truth. The interface wasn't just a tool. It was a two-way connection. And now, whatever was on the other side knew he was there. His quiet retirement on Proxima Colony had just become very complicated indeed. The security drones escorted Tahoe through the gleaming white hallways of the Proxima Colony Administrative Center. His arms were bound by temporary restraints, softly glowing bands that wouldn't damage his skin, but would deliver a stunning shock if he tried to run. The Velderi neural interface had been carefully removed by colony medical staff, though not before Tahoe had managed to back up some of the data to his personal implant. The room they finally entered was circular, with a raised platform in the center where Administrator Koro waited. The Proximan official's body was supported by 6 tentacle-like appendages, and his upper torso featured multiple eye stalks that swiveled independently to track movement. His skin shimmered with patterns of authoritative gold, the Proximan equivalent of formal attire. "Sit," commanded one of the drones, directing Tahoe to a small chair clearly designed for Proximan anatomy. Tahoe awkwardly perched on the edge of the seat, his knees nearly touching his chest. The chair's material conformed slightly to accommodate his human shape, but remained fundamentally uncomfortable. Administrator Koro's eye stalks fixed on Tahoe as a holographic display materialized between them, showing images from Tahoe's bathroom, the neural interface, his diagnostic equipment, and the moment of Neri's discovery. Human experimentation is strictly prohibited in Proxima Colony, Administrator Koro stated, his tentacles twitching with displeasure as he reviewed the holographic report. His voice came through a translator, but even the neutral tones couldn't hide his disapproval. Tahoe spotted Neri standing to the side of the administrator's platform. Her skin had settled into a more professional shade of deep purple, but small ripples of orange still betrayed her anxiety. "It's not experimentation, it's adaptation," Tahoe replied, sitting as straight as the uncomfortable chair allowed. "Humans have always modified technology to suit our needs." The administrator's skin flashed with skeptical yellow patterns. "You were attempting to merge advanced Velderi neural technology with your primitive human implant. Our security scans indicate the device was not approved for cross-species use." "That's because no one has tried before," Tahoe said. "But it was working. I was successfully establishing a connection." Neri stepped forward, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of respectful disagreement in Proximan body language. The human was inserting foreign technology into his neural cortex, she said, her voice steady despite the concerned purple hue of her skin. "Our medical database indicates this could cause catastrophic system failure." Tahoe felt a flare of frustration. "Your database is based on Proximan physiology," he countered. "Human brains are remarkably plastic. We adapt. It's what we do best." Administrator Koro's eye stalks swiveled toward Neri. "Is this true?" Neri's color rippled slightly as all attention turned to her. She hesitated before responding. I have been researching human biology since the incident, she admitted, surprising Tayo. Their neural pathways do show unusual regenerative capabilities compared to other species. A display appeared beside her, showing comparative brain scans of various species. The human brain, Tahoe specifically, showed activity patterns unlike the orderly neural structures of Proximan or Veldari brains. Humans evolved on a planet with frequent natural disasters and rapid environmental changes, Neri continued. Their neural architecture reflects this chaotic development history. Tahoe smiled for the first time since his arrest. Humans were integrating technology with our bodies long before we met aliens. This Veldari interface could help us understand each other better, all species. Administrator Koro's tentacles curled thoughtfully. Even if what you say is true, the Veldari neural technology is not yours to modify. It was reported stolen from a diplomatic transport 3 standard cycles ago. Tahoe's smile faded. I purchased it legally from a trader in the lower markets. A legal purchase of stolen goods remains illegal, the administrator replied dryly. The Veldari don't share their neural tech because they don't want others to understand how it works, Tahoe pressed. Have you ever wondered why? The administrator's skin flickered with warning patterns. Be careful, human. Diplomatic accusations require evidence. I have evidence, Tahoe said, leaning forward despite the restraints. In the brief time I was connected to the interface, I detected a backdoor signal. The Veldari aren't just communicating with their devices, they're monitoring everything connected to them. A murmur ran through the other officials in the room. Even Neri's color shifted slightly toward a curious teal. That is a serious allegation, the administrator said, his tone measured. Check the device yourself, Tahoe suggested. But use isolated systems. If I'm right, the Veldari have been gathering intelligence through every piece of shared technology in this colony. The administrator was silent for a long moment, his eye stalks moving between the confiscated neural interface, Tayo, and the other officials. These claims will be investigated, he finally said. Until then, you will remain in custody for illegal possession of stolen technology and unauthorized neural modification. Tahoe nodded, having expected nothing less. But as the drones moved to escort him out, Neri stepped forward again. Administrator, if I may, she said, her color now showing determination. Perhaps there is more to learn about humans than I initially thought. This one's actions, while reckless, may have uncovered something important. Are you defending the human, technician Neri? The administrator asked, surprise evident in his shifting colors. I am suggesting that human adaptability might be valuable, even if their methods are unorthodox, she replied carefully. I request permission to continue studying human neural responses while the investigation proceeds. The administrator considered this before nodding. Granted, but the human remains in detention. As the drones led Tahoe away, he caught Neri's gaze. For just a moment, her skin flashed with a pattern he hadn't seen before, something that looked almost like respect. The alarms jolted Tahoe awake, their high-pitched wailing echoing through the detention level of the colony's administrative center. He sat up on the narrow cot, instantly alert from years of military training. Through the transparent wall of his cell, he could see Proximan security personnel rushing past, their skin flashing urgent patterns of red and yellow. 3 days had passed since his arrest. 3 days of questioning about the Veldari neural interface. 3 days of explaining human neural plasticity to skeptical alien scientists. And 3 days of warning them about what he had discovered during his brief connection to the device. No one had believed him. Until now. The security console beside his cell lit up with emergency protocols. The main view screen switched to an orbital view, showing a massive ship approaching Proxima Colony. Its design was unmistakable, sleek, predatory lines with organic curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal. A Veldari warship. Tahoe moved closer to the transparent wall, watching as colony staff ran in organized chaos. The Proximans were a methodical species, but even they showed signs of fear, their normally ordered movements becoming jerky, their skin colors fluctuating wildly. "They're coming for the interface," Tahoe muttered to himself. "And probably for me too." 2 hours later, the colony's emergency status had not changed. The Veldari ship maintained orbit, neither attacking nor retreating. The detention level had emptied of all personnel except for necessary security drones, leaving Tahoe alone with his thoughts. The door at the end of the corridor finally hissed open. Administrator Koro moved quickly toward Tahoe's cell, his tentacles propelling him with unusual speed. The administrator's skin displayed chaotic patterns of blue and white, the proximate equivalent of extreme stress. "The Veldari have made contact," Koro said without preamble, activating the audio channel to Tahoe's cell. "They're demanding the return of their neural interface technology and the human who desecrated it." Panic was evident in his fluctuating bioluminescence. Tahoe crossed his arms. "I told you this would happen. This is no time for human satisfaction rituals." The administrator snapped. "They have threatened to use force if we do not comply within 1 standard hour. And you're going to hand me over," Tahoe concluded. It wasn't a question. The administrator's eye stalks lowered slightly, a gesture of reluctant agreement. "The Colony Council has voted. We cannot risk war with the Veldari. They're not here for their tech," Tahoe said, moving closer to the transparent wall. "They're afraid of what I discovered. Their interfaces can be modified to block their telepathic influence." "That is speculation," the administrator replied, though his color patterns suggested doubt. "Is it?" Tahoe challenged. "Think about it. Why send a warship for 1 human and 1 stolen device? They're scared of what I might tell you." Before the administrator could respond, the corridor door opened again. Nari entered, carrying a data pad and moving with purposeful strides. Her skin was set in professional patterns of deep blue with traces of green, determination mixed with scientific curiosity. "Administrator, the transfer preparations are almost complete," she reported. Then, turning to Tahoe, "The human will be moved to the diplomatic dock in 20 minutes. The administrator's eye stalks swiveled between them. "Very good, Technician Nari. Complete the final checks and notify me when ready." With a final meaningful look at Tahoe, he moved quickly back down the corridor. As soon as the door closed behind him, Nari's colors shifted subtly. She tapped a code into the security panel, and the audio monitoring system's light blinked from active to standby. "We have 3 minutes before the security system automatically reactivates," she said quietly. The cell door slid open, surprising Tahoe. Nari entered quickly, holding out the data pad. "I've reviewed your research notes," she said, her 4 eyes intense. "What you're attempting could protect all non-Veldari species from mental domination." Tahoe took the pad, seeing his own data alongside new proximate analysis. "You believe me?" he asked, genuinely surprised. "Humans are." She paused, her skin rippling as she searched for the right word. "Unpredictable. But your chaotic approach to problem-solving may be exactly what we need." A smile spread across Tahoe's face. "So you're not here to prepare me for transfer?" "Officially, yes. Unofficially." Nari's colors deepened to a rich, determined blue. "The administrator has given the Veldari 20 minutes to prepare for your transfer. We have until then." Tahoe's mind raced. "Is the interface nearby?" "In the lab 3 levels up, but it's guarded." "I don't need the original," Tahoe said, scrolling through the data on the pad. "These scans might be enough. But I'll need equipment, certain tools from my apartment." "Already collected," Nari replied, producing a small case from beneath her uniform tunic. "I anticipated your needs based on the research notes." Tahoe grinned, a new respect for the Proximan technician blooming. "Help me finish my work. I need 10 minutes with this data and these tools. Then I can show everyone what humanity brings to the galactic community." Nari hesitated. "Something unpredictable," Tahoe replied, already sorting through the case of tools. "Something human." Working quickly, Tahoe modified his personal neural implant using the tools Nari had brought. His fingers moved with practiced precision despite the pressure of time. The Veldari used their technology to subtly influence other species, he explained as he worked. Not full mind control, that would be too obvious. Just enough to create hesitation, doubt, or fear when dealing with them. How did you discover this? Nari asked, her colors showing fascination. I didn't at first, Tahoe admitted, but when I connected the interface to my own implant, it tried to establish standard Veldari protocols. My human brain rejected the pattern. It was too alien. That rejection revealed the underlying code structure. Using a micro-laser tool, Tahoe carefully adjusted his neural implant's receiver array. The interface doesn't just transmit data, it creates a specific neural resonance pattern. Once established, that pattern makes the user susceptible to Veldari telepathic influence. But you can block it. Better, Tahoe said, a spark of excitement in his eyes. I can reflect it. Turn their own influence back on them. The security panel beeped a 1-minute warning. Nari's colors flashed with anxiety. Almost done, Tahoe assured her, making a final adjustment. There. He inserted the modified implant back into the neural port at the base of his skull. For a moment, his eyes unfocused as the system initialized. Did it work? Nari asked. Tahoe blinked, then smiled. Only one way to find out. Take me to the Veldari. Proxima Colony's Central Plaza rarely hosted gatherings of all species. Today was different. News had spread quickly about the Veldari warship and their demand for the human who had tampered with their technology. Most colonists expected a simple transfer, perhaps with a formal apology from the colony leadership. What they got instead was much more interesting. The plaza hummed with nervous energy as hundreds of colonists gathered. Proximans dominated the crowd, their skin displaying anxious color patterns. Several other species clustered in smaller groups. Bulky Taurians with their protective exoskeletons, floating mist people contained in their environmental bubbles, and a handful of other humans who looked particularly concerned. Security drones hovered at regular intervals around the plaza's perimeter. Above, the Veldari warship loomed visible even in daylight, its dark shape eclipsing a portion of the local star. A platform had been hastily constructed in the center of the plaza. Administrator Koro stood there, flanked by colony officials. His skin displayed formal diplomatic patterns, but the speed of his color transitions betrayed his nervousness. Beside him stood 3 Veldari. They were tall, slender beings with smooth gray skin that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Each had 4 upper limbs ending in delicate tentacles, and their heads featured no visible eyes. Just smooth surfaces that occasionally rippled with subtle patterns. The central Veldari wore an ornate collar that marked him as the ambassador. A murmur spread through the crowd as 2 colony security officers led Tahoe onto the platform. He walked with his head high despite the restraints on his wrists. At the base of his skull, the modified neural implant gleamed with a soft blue light. Neri followed behind, carrying a small medical scanner. Her skin displayed professional colors, but small ripples of worry appeared when she glanced at Tahoe. The human prisoner, as requested. Administrator Koro announced, his translator broadcasting the message across the plaza. The Veldari ambassador floated forward, his feet not quite touching the platform. You have also recovered our stolen technology. His voice was oddly melodic, coming not from any visible mouth but seeming to emanate from his entire body. The original interface has been secured, the administrator confirmed. It will be transferred to your vessel along with the prisoner. Tahoe stepped forward, drawing surprised looks from the security officers. Before you ship me off to whatever fate the Veldari have planned, I'd like to make a request. Administrator Koro's eye stalks swiveled toward him. This is not the appropriate time, human. I request the right of public demonstration, Tahoe said firmly. According to Colonial Charter, Section 12, even a prisoner facing extradition may demonstrate evidence relevant to colony security. The administrator's skin flashed with surprise. Few non-Proximans bothered learning their legal codes. This human claims his primitive modification can resist our authorized thought guidance, the Veldari ambassador hissed, his tentacles writhing with contempt. Such claims are both false and irrelevant. Tahoe smiled. If they're false, then you should have no problem allowing me to demonstrate. The crowd's attention intensified. The Veldari were respected and feared throughout the sector, their advanced technology and mysterious mental abilities making them powerful allies and dangerous enemies. After a moment of consultation with his advisors, Administrator Koro nodded reluctantly. The human has requested this demonstration before his transfer to your custody. Our charter does allow for this. The ambassador's smooth face rippled with what might have been irritation. Very well. A brief demonstration, then we depart. Nari moved closer to Tahoe, activating her medical scanner. Your vital signs are elevated, she said quietly. Are you certain about this? Tahoe nodded, then addressed the crowd. Many of you have wondered why the Veldari are so protective of their neural technology. Today, I'll show you why. The scanner in Nari's hands displayed Tahoe's neural patterns on a small holographic projection. His brain activity was visible as chaotic bursts of color, very different from the orderly patterns of proximate brain scans. Begin your demonstration, human, the ambassador commanded, the smooth surface of his face developing a faint glow that pulsed with hypnotic rhythm. Tahoe stood calmly, hands relaxed at his sides. I already have. You've been attempting to influence my thoughts since I entered. How's that working for you? The ambassador's tentacles froze mid-writhe. Impossible. A ripple of surprise moved through the crowd. Most species couldn't detect Veldari mental influence, let alone resist it. Human neural architecture is chaotic, non-linear, Tahoe explained, gesturing to Nari's scanner display. Your telepathy relies on predictable patterns. We're anything but predictable. The administrator's eye stalks extended in surprise. Is this true? He asked the ambassador. Instead of answering, the Veldari's face glow intensified dramatically. Increase psychic pressure, he commanded to his companions. The other Veldari joined their mental efforts, their faces glowing in unison. Tahoe winced visibly, but remained standing. The neural implant at the base of his skull glowed brighter blue, pulsing in rhythm with the Veldari's attempts. Nari's scanner began beeping urgently, human brain activity increasing beyond safe parameters, she reported, genuine concern in her voice. Tahoe reached up and touched a small control on his implant. Suddenly, every communication screen around the plaza lit up with swirling patterns, the same patterns emanating from the Veldari, now visible to all. This is what the Veldari don't want you to know, Tahoe announced as gasps echoed through the crowd. Their control isn't inevitable, it can be resisted. The displayed patterns showed complex waves that seemed to tug at the viewer's attention, creating subtle feelings of doubt, hesitation, and deference toward the Veldari. For centuries, the Veldari have used these subtle influences during all negotiations and interactions. Tahoe continued, his voice strained but determined. Not enough to control minds, just enough to ensure they always have the advantage. The ambassador's tentacles whipped furiously. Cease this transmission immediately. He stretched, feeling the pleasant ache in his shoulders from hours of detailed work. The neural implant at the base of his skull glowed faintly blue, the modified version now officially sanctioned for research purposes, just doing what humans have always done, adapting, surviving, finding unconventional solutions, he said, gesturing around at the bathroom laboratory. Nari moved closer to examine his current project. The other species are beginning to view humans differently, she said thoughtfully. Not as primitive, but as unpredictably valuable. High praise coming from a Proximan, Tahoe said. Your species wrote the book on predictability. We wrote many books, Nari corrected him seriously. The Complete Guide to Predictable Outcomes is a 50-volume collection that. She stopped when she saw Tahoe's smile. Ah, human humor, still adapting to it. Tahoe moved a pile of components from a small stool, offering Neri a place to sit. You're getting better. Soon you'll be making jokes about humans and our chaotic ways. I already do, Neri said, but only with other Proximans. Your species has surprisingly delicate feelings for beings who willingly connect alien technology to their brain stems. Tahoe laughed outright at that. Speaking of connecting things, want to see the latest prototype? This one might actually work with Proximan neural structures. He picked up what looked like a small blue disk about the size of a coin. It glowed with subtle patterns that shifted and changed as he held it. The problem with your species is that your brains are too organized, he explained, passing the device to Neri. Your neural pathways are so precise that they can't handle the adaptability required for the interface. Neri held the disk carefully, her skin showing scientific curiosity. And your solution? Controlled chaos, Tahoe said proudly. This interface introduces small, random variations into the signal pattern, just enough to create the flexibility needed, but not enough to disrupt Proximan thought processes. Neri's colors showed impressed surprise. You have been studying Proximan neurology extensively. I had a good teacher, Tahoe replied with a nod to her. So, have you reconsidered my offer to become my research assistant? Housekeeping clearly doesn't challenge you enough. Neri set the prototype carefully back on the workbench. Her colors shifted to ambitious gold, with patterns Tahoe had never seen before. I have submitted my application to the new Cross-Species Technology Institute, she said, straightening to her full height. I believe my experience with human unorthodox methods would be beneficial. Tahoe's eyebrows rose in surprise. The Institute. That's impressive. When did they announce its creation? This morning, Neri replied. Administrator Coro proposed it after the Velderi agreement was finalized. The Colony Council approved emergency funding immediately. And they're already accepting applications. Tahoe asked. Only one position has been formally created so far, Neri said, her colors showing subtle pride. Director of Research. Tahoe stared at her for a moment, then broke into a wide grin. They're offering you the director position, aren't they? Not just a research assistant, the head of the whole institute. Neri's colors confirmed his guess, rippling with pleased gold and proud blue. The official announcement will come tomorrow. The administrator believes that Proximan organization combined with human creativity would make an ideal leadership approach. That's fantastic, Tahoe exclaimed, standing to offer a human-style handshake, which Neri had learned to accept. Though I hope the director will still visit this humble bathroom lab occasionally. Regular inspections will be necessary, Neri confirmed seriously, though her colors showed amusement. Just remember to knock before entering any human research spaces. You never know what we'll be up to next. Tahoe laughed again, gesturing at the chaos of his bathroom laboratory. That, he agreed, is precisely why the galaxy needs humans. As Neri prepared to leave, she paused at the doorway. The Institute's first project has already been decided, she said, a cross-species study of neural adaptation in unpredictable environments. Sounds fascinating, Tahoe replied. Any particular test subjects in mind? Neri's colors displayed a pattern that Tahoe had come to recognize as the Proximan equivalent of a smile. I believe I know a human who unintentionally volunteered when a housekeeper found him in the bathroom with alien technology connected to his skull. Well, Tahoe said with a grin, when you put it that way, how could I refuse? After Neri left, Tahoe turned back to his workbench, looking at the scattered components with new purpose. What had begun as a risky experiment in his bathroom was now changing the balance of power throughout the sector. All because a housekeeper had walked in without knocking. Sometimes, Tahoe thought, chaos really was the best approach after all.